Hi, we have this beautiful question. I call it beautiful because it looks very simple, unassuming, but quite a fair bit of work involved. That makes it exciting. Also exciting because in the end you realize that you just need to recall just a few principles to be able to solve it. So shall we make a start to see how we can get our 7 marks? So we have log 2x add 6 log x2 equal to 7. It's very important when you're solving questions involving logarithm equations is to make sure that you're working with the same base throughout. In this particular case, we have 1 in base 2 and 1 in base x, and it will be sensible to write all of the terms that we see here in a base 2. What do we then need to recall? You would need to recall that if we have log of any base, we could rewrite it as a log CB divided by log CA. Okay, so you recall this principle. So with that in mind, I will choose to write my log x2 in terms of log to base 2. Okay, so I have a uniform equation. So I'm going to have log 2x add 6 log 2 divided by log 2x. And you know that this, if we were doing the same thing to it, would actually be that. Again, coming from a previous principle that you would have learned, that log to the same base and a power will be the same as log AA, and log AA is 1, so 7 times 1 is 7, yeah? Okay, hence that became the 7. Alright, so proceeding fairly, so what we have is we have log 2x add log to the same base of the number would give us a 1. So that becomes 6 divided by log 2x equal to the 7 that we started with. Yeah. Now, instead of keeping the log 2x and rewriting it over and over again, we'll do something a little smarter. We will say let log 2x equal, say, y, just so that we can have one single variable through. So y, so this implies y add 6 divided by y equal to 7. So we want to eliminate this denominator by multiplying through by the y, which will then give us y squared add 6 equals 7y. Can you see a quadratic equation emerging? So what do? If we rearrange it, we have y squared minus 7y add 6 equal to 0. So that is a fairly beautiful and simple quadratic equation for us to factorize. So you're thinking of two numbers whose product will be 1 times 6 and whose sum will be negative 7. So what do we think about? We're thinking of a negative 1 and the negative 6, yeah? So we have y minus 1 and y minus 6 as our factorized equation. So now, what does that mean? If we have two things multiplying to obtain a 0, that tells us that either y minus 1 is 0, in which case y equals 1, or y minus 6 equals 0, in which case y equals 6. So now we've obtained a value for our y, but you don't forget that you had initially set your y, your log 2x to be your y. So we now have to substitute. So we say, okay, but log 2x equal to 1. Therefore, again, recalling another log principle will help you to see that it means that x is 2 to the power 1. And therefore our x is 2. Yeah? Okay. We do the same thing here. We know that from what we did, log 2x will be 6. That means that x equals 2 to the power 6. And what do we know about 2 to the power 6? That x is 64. Now, both of these principles comes from this one. If you have log a to the power b equals c, then that means b is the same as a to the power c. Okay, so one key thing with solving logarithmic questions is you will need to always recall the principles that you've learned and then bring them to bear. So that is what you need to do to gain your full marks of 7. If you have any questions, please send them through, and I would like you to like my video or pass it on to anyone that you think will be helpful for. Okay, join me another day. Bye bye.